What is going on, true believers? I hope you're having a great morning. My name is Bleaves. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto market. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We got a little bit more Bitcoin than we have been talking about recently because there's a lot of stuff going on, and then there's a lot of stuff in the crypto market central to Bitcoin, but not directly related, so to speak. It's more to the broader crypto market, but all of that we're going to get into, and then more. We got MSI, we've got Saitama, we've got DevvE to talk about. We got a lot of different stuff. Also, got an update that I don't like on 5IRE. You guys know I've been pretty bullish on 5IRE for a little while, and I am rethinking it, and I am going to tell you guys why. But I'm not going to do that until you start to lip sync to Bleaves 182.
I can read a chart like a Superman, and I've got a show that has a lot of fans. I'm streaming every day and almost every night. I bought some Bitcoin cause I see the light. You might wonder who I am, but don't forget that I'm the man. They call me Bleaves, I'll do any chart you want me to. They call me Bleaves, I'll break the crypto wallet down for you, for you, for you. I built a crypto channel streaming live at night, and I'm the only YouTube streamer who's always right. Every morning I go live and say to all you guys, don't fall for all these motherfuckers and their lies. You might wonder who I am, but don't forget that I'm the man. They call me Bleaves, I'll do any chart you want me to. They call me Bleaves, I'll break your crypto wallet down for you, for you, for you. I don't know what to do because my memberships are missing you.
Uh-oh.
All right, guys. Hope you're having a good morning. So let's talk about it. First of all, fear and greed index sitting at about 48 right now. 48 is right in the middle. That is basically the heart line of whether or not there's going to be a move up or down. Now, because we're sitting yesterday at 20 extreme fear, and now we're back to neutral, you have to consider that this is going to be a continuation of an upside move going to wherever we're going to go. But let's just say Bitcoin ripped from, and I'm going to show you a few minutes from now, but 58,000 all the way up to 62,000 in a day, 57,000 to 62,000 in a day before correcting back down just a little bit as this morning opens up. Big expiry day. So I think this is good for crypto. And we got the jobs report. The U.S. jobs report looked better than what it had looked like last week, which caused a little nervousness and fears of global recession. And that seems to be at least alleviated slightly over the last little while. Now, since we're in neutral and we're basically right here in the middle of where we want to go. And by the way, this is where you enter. This is where you exit. That's the strategy that we're taking right now. Okay. And by the way, if you want to take that strategy, KCEX, that's the place. If you want to help me out, one of the best things you can do, if you like futures trading or anything like that, go to KCEX and start trading today. And it's non-KYC. You can use it across the world, anywhere, high liquidity pools for a lot of different pairs. So it's a fantastic exchange in my estimation so far. I haven't found any flaws in it that I can complain about, and they've got plenty of money available for you to withdraw in the event that you have a successful trade. So we're sitting at 48 right now on that. And then that brings us to the RSI. Where are we sitting at on the RSI, and what is the path? Well, we had a dump all the way down to this level right here and in the 28s. This is, by the way, total market cap on the daily, and we're now sitting at around 43 at this point. What does that mean? Well, there should be a move. The last time we had a number this low right here, this is what ended up happening right here, and we had an enormous run up. And then a continuation of that run up as we were already overheated, and it got real nice, real fast. So if you look at it from here to what was the move here? It was from here all the way up to here. That was 167% over the course of, that looks like, about 6 months. So this could be the start of a big continuation. If not, I mean, maybe it's not, but it sure looks like it could be. This is the last time we had a big dip like that, right? The recovery comes back even higher than it was before. So that would mean, in my estimation, we're about to break this trend line in the total market cap, and we're about to see some real upside momentum. The world, if you will, is feeling pretty good about cryptocurrency all around, except there's a few things that are, not exactly jiving yet. So what do we have? We got middle of the road, but we're coming from a low. We've got a middle of the road fear and greed index. We've got a middle of the road coming from the bottom. RSI. So I think that means there's a continuation coming, and that we're going to see another nice move towards the upside coming. Now, the question is whether it will happen today, and we're going to get into that as we go. So, oops. All right. So let's get into what we got going on right now. So Bitcoin this morning, goes above 62,000 as global recession fears subside. Now, why did that happen? Global recession eased after lower than expected U.S. initial jobless claims. And what it felt like yesterday, or last Friday, I'm sorry, was that something very bad could be happening in this market. Like, it could be that the market is collapsing right now. It's not something you want to see. You want to see this market get robust. You want to see it build, right? But it did not. As of the time of writing, Bitcoin's price has retraced slightly to 60,270. Earlier this morning, it had surged to as high as 62,490. So it's also seen $91 billion traded in the past day, which means that a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to a lot of Bitcoin, and it is positive again on the on the ETF front. So it was only Monday when Bitcoin sank as low as 49,781. That's when we buy. And by the way, I didn't get liquidated. I got to take profit. So that ruined my setup. What I did is I set it for 61,005. Yesterday I saw a thing from Jake Gagan where he said 60,000 Bitcoin by tomorrow and 3,000 Ethereum, and I was like, no, we're going to 61.5, and then tomorrow we're going to 3,000. And then what do? We went to 61.5, and then we went up to 62, almost 62.5. So even I was not bullish enough for that. And then we still have the Ethereum, but again, there's positive information about Ethereum, and Vitalik Buterin, I think, might have messed it up because he moved a lot of Ethereum in the last day to parts unknown. We don't really know why yet. So the rebound is largely thanks to the U.S. initial jobless claims seeing their biggest drop in 11 months yesterday. The Labor Department reported claims for unemployment benefits came in at a seasonally adjusted 233,000 last week, after economists had been forecasting it would come in at 240,000. So the market is still not surging, but it's not tanking as bad as we had thought. The smackdown was a stark reminder that we've lost bullish momentum. This does not mean we should stay away from the longs, but it does mean you should be more aggressive with profit taking on longs. Bitcoin and Ethereum, by the way, are below their 200-day moving averages, which we'll talk about in just a moment. That's your bullish scenario right there playing out. That's the one piece that we haven't really discussed. The market chaos at the start of the week was especially painful for traders. The sell-off triggered a panic by investors, with around $1.3 billion in realized losses locked up by market participants. And remember, the broader market lost $2 trillion in value in one day. One of the biggest dumps since I want to say it was 1987 or something like that. It's one of the biggest dumps in some places ever. The Japanese market absolutely collapsed at one point, and it's been a difficult week. It's been a difficult week for investors, but it looks like there is a nice little turnaround. If you were sidelined and you got back in when that RSI went way down, you're feeling pretty good today. So but let's move on, because one of the other things is there's a switch that's been flipped, and that switch was Grayscale has now turned more bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is coming from Grayscale research. Now, when Grayscale research comes in and they start talking about this, then the move, or one of the biggest parts of the move, has already happened. Because they're doing it internally. They're telling everybody internally, they're making their move internally, and then they're talking to the news after they've done that, because they're pumping their bag. Asset management firm Grayscale has projected positive growth for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets on the back of macroeconomic factors. Although assets declined last month compared to the first quarter figures, the company noted that a swing in bullish factors could ignite market growth, which we saw. Grayscale remains bullish on Bitcoin and other assets, and they also enrolled out some new investment projects. In recent market report, Grayscale Research highlighted factors for the decline in crypto assets, making an upward projection in Bitcoin. According to the firm, Bitcoin will retest its all-time high if the U.S. economy avoids recessions while maintaining a path to a soft landing. Pointing to macro factors, analysts restated the users adopting Bitcoin as a haven from inflationary risk. And their statement was this: at the same time, Grayscale Research believes that there is very little tolerance for a deep economic downturn and is expecting policymakers to print and spend at the first sign of trouble. The undisciplined approach to monetary and fiscal policy is one reason why investors choose to invest in Bitcoin. A period of economic weakness could therefore reinforce the long-term Bitcoin investment thesis. This year, institutional investors have increased their appetite for them in the market, driving up sentiments. The launch of Bitcoin ETFs led to major investments within the industry. Several traditional firms also increased their Bitcoin exposure. Another significant factor for the company's position is crypto becoming a major election issue, with candidates leaning towards the sector. And by the way, if you guys didn't see, God damn it, I really thought the Trump administration was attempting to do something big. Kamala Harris flamed out spectacularly yesterday. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I really thought that they were going to lean out and they were going to hand out an olive branch of sorts. Maybe make Bitcoin, maybe make this a Bitcoin tax-free innovation zone, something like that in the United States, with a plan for that to happen. But instead, what did Donnie Jr. and Eric do? They're launching a meme coin. Now, I would tell you this: if you have not caught a pump on MAGA token, if you are in any way upside down on the MAGA token, which at this point trading at about $3, I think there'll be one more liftoff for it. If you get an opportunity to, then this might be a time to kind of exit. Now, there was one called RTR that came out yesterday, pumped to 140 million market cap, and then summarily just disintegrated. I mean, really bad. I don't know where it's looking right now, but it's dead. It's basically dead. You can see it right here. There's 4.4 million in liquidity and 5 million market cap. But I mean, you can see this right here. I mean, that's about this was not one of their official ones, but if you scroll down here, then you're going to find just an absolute insane amount of selling off that happened over here. Now, it's got a higher floor than it had before. Not doing anything poorly compared to some other stuff, so maybe you're fine. However, it's not a great sign when you've dipped that hard that far. So, and by the way, I was looking at this yesterday at 10 million, thinking, maybe this is an opportunity to catch this on a rebound. It was around 1 cent, something like that. And I decided not to, because I thought, I don't like the look of this. I just don't like the look of it. And yeah, I'd be down half if that was the case. Anyway, the point to that is be a little more risk averse right now to this MAGA token. I'm not saying I still think it's $1 billion thing, but if they're coming out with their own grift, then the grift of the guys who created this grift is going to be superseded. If Donnie Jr. and Eric Trump are going to grift you with a meme token, then that's probably going to pump a little better. So be watching for that. If you haven't, turn on notifications with either Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr., and you should get a notification pretty quickly that some kind of meme coin is launching in their ecosystem. I think they're calling it a platform, but they're all platforms until they're not platforms. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens from it. It's an opportunity, I think, to make a little bit of cash off of it. Potentially. So Grayscale remains bullish. Let's move on here. 32,000 Bitcoin options are set to expire today amid a strong Bitcoin recovery. And it looks like the call to put ratio is 1, which means that it's basically a toss-up right now. As per data from Deribit's total of 32,000, the put call ratio is 0.71, which means that it's slightly towards puts, but this is not. It's it's about average to where it is, and usually that's kind of trading sideways. So I don't think that we're going to see anything there. Yen rate hike induced severe volatility in the crypto market. Bitcoin dropped below 50,000. The implied volatility has decreased to an extent, but it still remains higher than pre-crash levels. The ongoing market volatility makes it challenging for IVs to decline rapidly over a short period of time. Grayscale Research report noted that the U.S. economy avoided recession and managed a soft landing. If it can do that, then they expect it to be an all-time high, which is what we just talked about. Now, here's Ethereum. The total of 206,000 Ethereum options are set to expire today with a put call ratio of 0.96, a notional value of 560 million, and a max pain point of 2950. The put call ratio close to 1 shows that it's a tight fit between bulls and bears. In the last 24 hours, Ethereum has witnessed a strong rebound and shot up to 27. As per technical charts, it can further extend a rally to 2820 if it continues on, and then 2950. So there is an opportunity and there is a path forward for a continuation of bullish momentum in this market as we get through the expiry today. And by the way, now that we're sitting here right now, the expiries probably mostly have been done. We're at 9:18 a.m. That means that it's 10:18 on the East Coast, which in fact could signal that we're probably done with expiries, and we can figure out in the next 2 hours or 3 hours, are we going to pump? Are we going to dump? What's it going to look like? And then how do we go into the weekend? Then we'll start to see what happens going through the weekend. And then, perhaps there'll be something good to see there. Now, let's talk about the bad, right? One of the things that, and we're going to talk about this in just a moment, but we're going to cover this part first. Fed's Operation Choke Point 2.0 continues with action against Customers Bank. Custodia Bank founder Caitlin Long dismissed the White House meeting with crypto leaders as ineffective and criticized Operation Choke Point. And now there's a reason Operation Choke Point on Thursday, August 8th, the U.S. Federal Reserve initiated an action on crypto-friendly Customers Bank, highlighting insufficient AML and risk management. The crypto industry veterans see this as another iron-fisted approach by the Fed to scuffle crypto-friendly banks in the United States. Now, does that mean that it is? I don't think that. Look, I think that people are misreading this because they're politically motivated and they want to be opportunistic and they want to say, "Oh, Trump good, Harris bad," or something like that. And it's not without precedent, by the way. It's not without precedent because Operation Choke Point is very real, and we've been seeing it with the banks. But may I also say, what we're dealing with right now is a recessionary economy where people are afraid to keep their money in banks for fear of banks going out of business and stuff like that. And we're seeing on the fringes, we're seeing problems. Well, Customers is a fringe bank. Silicon Valley Bank was a fringe bank. All of these banks these are the low local. This is not that we make it up this way because we want to get the Biden administration out, because we want the Trump administration to come in as pro crypto. So we're willing to just kind of make shit up as we go, and just because we're making that up doesn't mean that it's really happening. Like, for example, if the wheels are already set in motion and the truck is already driving down the street, and you decide that you're going to change your direction, you got to slow down and you got to pivot. You got to make a turn, right? Well, turning doesn't happen on a dime. The Harris administration is not the Biden administration. However, if you're Tyler Winklevoss or somebody who put $1 million into Trump's pocket in order to get him elected, then you're going to have an opinion that only supports, not an honest opinion. It's only an opinion that supports what you want in that short term. What do you want in that short term? You want Donald Trump to get elected. So on Thursday, they did the AML, and then Tyler Winklevoss came out immediately and lashed out at the Harris administration, calling their crypto reset approach nothing but a scam. It's the stupidest thing. How do you get ripped off from Mark Zuckerberg, get money back from Mark Zuckerberg, go to the same Harvard as Mark Zuckerberg, and they'll still end up stupid? That's the question that I would have for the Winklevoss, because first, this is what he says, and I'll show you the post here. Today, the Fed confirmed that Operation Choke Point 2.0 remains in full swing, providing valuable insights into how it works. Don't these guys look like they're like acromegaly or something like that? Don't they look like the don't they both look like Chad, like the Chad bro? Don't they look like there's something wrong with them, like Anthony Robbins, like the Paul White, the giant from wrestling? They look a little bit odd to you. Weird. Anyway, provided a valuable insight into how it works and verified that the Harris crypto reset is a scam. No, it didn't. You're stupid. Stop using stupid words. You're supposed to be better than this, dum-dum. The Fed revealed all of this in a 13-page enforcement action it issued this morning against crypto-friendly bank Customers Bank. Now, did they do that? No, because if you think that, then you're stupid, because there's no Harris administration. There's only the Biden administration. And the Biden administration is not looking for a pivot or has not said anything openly about the pivot. There was a possibility that we were going to see one. And, they're the ones that approved the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. So you can take the good with the bad when you're doing this. However, whereas Bancorp pursued digital business strategy that involves offering banking services to digital asset customers and also operates an instant payment platform that allows commercial banks to make tokenized payments over a distributed ledger technology system for the commercial clients of the bank. Whereas the most recent inspection of the organization conducted, it's effective immediately. The organization shall provide the Reserve Bank with written notice 30 days prior to engaging in any strategic initiative, product, service, or relationship with a third parties related to digital asset strategies. Because you're supposed to be governed and you're supposed to be monitored by it. And if you're not, then maybe that presents itself as a problem. Now, given that Customers is one of the few crypto-friendly banks remaining in America today, this means that the Fed is now a direct gatekeeper standing between crypto companies and their ability to get a new bank account. Nothing to do with the Harris administration. This is all the Biden administration. Now, is Harris part of the Biden administration? Yes. Is she the Harris administration? Only if you're a dum-dum who says shit like MAGA, because you want your guy to get elected. And look, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, but I'm also going to be honest. So, this has nothing to do with the Harris administration. By the way, I don't think that means that you should be voting for Harris. I'm not supporting Kamala Harris. I'm just saying when you're getting lied to by one of the Winklevoss twins, I'm going to say you're getting lied to by one of the Winklevoss twins. So, and by the way, it doesn't mean that the enforcement action is not unnecessary from the Biden administration. It doesn't mean that she's not part of the Biden administration. But there was a roundtable yesterday, and here's where it gets really, really funny. And this is the really, really funny part, because here's what happens from Customers Bank. Crypto executives meet with the they met with the Democratic leaders yesterday in order to come up with some kind of path forward, right? Here's what happened, because this got a little bit crazy. The Zoom meeting was hosted by California Congressman Ro Khanna with the goal of mending fences during a contentious election year. The Democratic Party now sees the opportunity with cryptocurrency. So they're trying to pivot into a positive situation. That does not mean that the train that they've already done doesn't need to turn a corner. So they're going to have to slow down, and you can't slow it down on a dime. It doesn't work that way. So you see stuff like this enforcement action. And here's the good part, right? Here's the part that they're only pretending. Tyler Winklevoss went in there and he found the one piece that supported whatever he wanted it to say. He didn't read the whole thing to you. He just took out the part about digital asset. What he didn't is, do they have enough money on hand? Are they doing business the way they're supposed to? Do they have the proper regulations and shit in place? So he's being dishonest with you, and that's not fair. You should have somebody who's honest with you, especially if they're holding your money like these guys do on Gemini. So the virtual confab designed to repair relations between the crypto industry and the Democratic Party turned ugly Thursday morning, underscoring the uphill battle progressive crypto advocates are having trying to glean industry support for the presidential candidacy of Kamala Harris. The Zoom meeting was hosted by Ro Khanna And this was regarding the massive regulatory crackdown. Now, here's what happens. Around 20 people were on the call, including some top Biden administration officials, such as Wally Adeyemo, National Economic Advisor Lael Brainerd, White House Chief of Staff Bruce Reed. Christine Lucius, a senior advisor to Harris, was also present, but she did not speak. Attendees from the crypto side included Mark Cuban, Skybridge Capital's The Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, venture capitalist and Democratic donor Rob Conway, and a handful of executives from Ripple, Coinbase, Kraken, Uniswap, and other crypto firms. Instead of finding common ground, industry executives lashed out at White House officials, largely over the regulatory assault from people like the SEC and the Federal Reserve. Now, by the way, it should be noted, so that we don't do the thing again, that this customer's bank situation that we just referred to over here was already an enforcement action that was taken last week. So to pretend that this was just brand new and happened today, again, this is you being manipulated by Tyler Winklevoss. It doesn't mean you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. Just means that Tyler Winklevoss is lying to you about it, or not lying to you, deceiving you about it. Instead of finding common ground, they lashed out. The people who attended the meeting said this is what happened, okay? Executives didn't hold back on telling the administration reps how much damage they've done to the crypto industry and to the Democrat Party with their actions against digital assets. They basically just got yelled at. Rob Conway, for instance, aggressively expressed frustration that the administration has provided nothing but empty promises to the industry. Conway, an early Coinbase investor, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Another tense moment occurred when Adeyemo told attendees that banks and regulators, and this is where it gets interesting, and this is why, in my opinion, this is why Tyler Winklevoss is trying to deceive you, because he seized upon this moment, which did happen. Okay. Adeyemo told the attendees that banks and regulators were not actively trying to cut the industry off from the broader financial system. In response, a crypto executive asked those on the call for a show of hands of whose firms have been denied banking services because of White House policies. According to two attendees, every industry executive raised their hands. Despite this friction, Anthony Scaramucci told Fox Business News that he's optimistic that Harris will gain some support in crypto land. And he said, it's encouraging that these high-level officials took the time to show up and listen to our industry. My colleagues in the crypto space understandably want action now, but that's not how things work in Washington. I think we're making steady progress. Paul Grewal, Coinbase's chief legal officer, also came away with a positive perspective. This is Biden administration meeting, but the focus now has to be on the Harris campaign and what they are willing to do, not the Biden administration. She's the perfect candidate to be a strong new face for crypto and make a break with the past. So this is what Coinbase is feeling like, that Harris is the perfect candidate for the not the perfect candidate as compared to Donald Trump, but the perfect candidate for the Democratic Party to push forward in that regard. So this was a very interesting time in that the people, and by the way, Mark Cuban also went to Twitter afterwards and said that he was encouraged by what could possibly happen. So Biden vetoed the last crypto bill. It was who? So you didn't say Kamala Harris, and that's the part that I'm telling you you're being lied to about. We don't know what Kamala Harris. We need clarity from her, by the way, which is why I would say under no uncertain terms should anybody vote for Kamala Harris if you're a crypto supporter, because nothing that she's said or done openly and in public can be found to be pro-crypto. Not at this point. So, but that's the Biden administration. And peas in a pod, and this is why it's difficult to have honest conversation, because I know two peas in a pod, and that pod was called Mar-a-Lago, and those two peas were Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and they were buddies. So I don't know why peas in a pod works on one side, not the other. So no. We'll see whether or not She's different. Ro Kahana is different. Ro Kahana is wildly pro crypto. So, and so is Cory Booker, I think, from New Jersey. He was as well. So there's plenty of pro crypto candidates in the Democratic Party. The fact that these enforcement actions are out there, or that Gary Gensler has been basically unchecked in this process, does not mean that Kamala Harris has anything to do with that. Now, she's part of the administration. She's not Joe Biden. So again, if you want to paint this wild picture, then no, it's not true. So Trump denied access to Jeff after he tried to peas in a pod. So if so, what we're saying here is, if Harris administration is reaching out to these people to try to reset their crypto relationship, then we shouldn't call them peas in a pod. We should say they're different. If that's the case, good. You got it. Perfect answer. Good job. You got there. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about monkey shit Inu. MSI has the price on MSI way down in the channel. It is breaking down though. We do have to acknowledge this. Let me show you what this looks like. It had a nice little relief pump to about 43, 44 a few hours ago, but didn't maintain itself. So this is what it looks like right now on that chart. This was supposed to be the area of support, and it looks like it's holding right now, but I haven't seen a catalyst that's caused a significant spike, and we've created this downward trend right here that is going to have to be broken out of. Otherwise, downward momentum is going to continue, and 36 is not going to be enough to keep people in. It's going to have a big breakout and get back into this sort of range right here for people to get a little comfortable again on MSI. Okay, so just so you guys are aware, there's bearish momentum happening right now on MSI. So let's pop up real quick the RSI, and you can see right here the RSI probably coming in. It's not. This looks like this would look like to me that there might be more downside momentum, because you've seen this. You've seen it reaching down here into the bottom. You got a strong relief bounce over here. Then you saw less relief bounce, and you saw even less relief bounce. So it's going to take a little time. Pablo's going to have to come up with some kind of big play in order to make MSI hit that next level. By the way, may not be possible at this point to make that happen. So I'm going to be watching this. I'll be interested to see how this plays out. Can they hold on to 3,000, which is around a 10 million market cap? So my curiosity is piqued on how they're going to handle this and how they're going to deal with it. But on the 1 hour, cooked. On the 1 day, which is the most important one, right? On the 1 day, you're down at 44. So on a 44, at a 44, probably looking at more downside. You're probably looking more downside. And here we go. You make it conditional. But John Doe didn't make it conditional at all. They were peas in a pod. And that's the point. And I like the fact that you guys can separate the fact that there's no basement in comic ping pong and pizza. I like the fact that you guys know that. I like that. However, and by the way, it's pretend here. I'm always in Chicago. I don't have bullets flying by my head. There's no pretend here. You can go out there and you can party down and you can have a great time. You can go down to Chicago River and hang out. You can go to Trump Tower and go just hang out. And you can have a great time in Chicago. And there's no bullets flying by you. That's just something that people who are on the right, who are peas in a pod, lying to you. In fact, the murder rate is down from like 50 years ago. 50 years ago, the murder rate was way higher in Chicago than it is right now. Nobody wants to hear that because, somebody told you, was it Chirac? Is that the phrase? I can't remember what the phrase was, but it was Chirac or something like that. You know, we live in this pretend bubble where everybody's outraged about all these different things. Was it Tampon Tim? All those kind of wild things. Look, if you get lied to and you believe the lies, that's on you. I don't fall for that shit. I don't fall for it. By the way, there's no basement in Comet Ping Pong and Pizza. No basement at all. So when you get that wild shit that you got going on, it's wild. And it's okay for me to say, yeah, it's fucking wild. And also, Chicago's a beautiful city. Chicago is a beautiful city. Doesn't have the crime rate of some of the Florida cities like Miami. Ugh, gross. Jacksonville has a crack den made out of like campers and homeless people and stuff like that. Ugh, gross. Stay out of Florida. You know, peas in a pod. You know, look at all that crime in Houston. Stay out of, God damn it, stay out of Texas. Just criminal filth. Dallas, Texas, peas in a pod. Do you see what I'm saying? None of this is logical. 332 people have been murdered so far in this year in your safe city. That's a much better ratio. You know, that was 800. That was over 800 a long time ago. God damn it. That's pretty good. So over halfway through the year, murder rate's down in Chicago again. And I mean, listen, and it's cool because I understand gang violence. I understand that there's gang violence, and you hate gang violence. No, Maddie, peas in a pod, bro. Peas in a pod. It's a Republican state run by Republicans. The Attorney General is Republican. The governor and the lieutenant governor are all Republican. It's a Republican state, bro. It's Republican. So, you know, it's Republican. It's only conditional when you want it to be conditional. Like I said, it's always just conditional. And the reason that the reason that Democrats populate the big cities is very simple, because Republicans can't govern a city. They screw it up every single time. That's why there's Republicans don't lead big cities. That's why. That's population centers. It's where people are. If you're a Republican, go govern a farm. I mean, that's the way that it works here. And you know, I don't know how it changes. I don't know if it changes. I don't give a shit if it changes. Here's what I know. I have fun in Chicago, and I don't have bullets zinging by me. So I'm not crying about it. And if you live here, then you would be saying the same thing, unless you lived in a place that does have gang violence. And, you know, there's gang violence everywhere. There's gang violence here. There is gang violence in California. There's gang violence all over Texas. Jesus Christ. Dallas, shithole. Houston, garbage. Georgia, Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, all these, you know, Republican hubs, if you will. Yeah, no, it's all pretend. It's performative outrage brought to you by Fox News. I just don't fall for that shit. I don't fall for the other people. I fall for, I can go to the Chicago River today. I can go again to Trump Tower today. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Well, yeah. So does a lot of people, right? That's, you know. Go fly out of your airport packed with Jesus Christ. I flew out of my airport. It's not packed with illegals. That's pretend. See, this is your performative outrage. If you lived here, you'd know better. No, it isn't. That's pretend. That's some random bullshit that you were told by QAnon or some ridiculous nonsense grub worm garbage that you heard from some rando. Not true. Not true at all. But you know what? I'm here doing it. You're getting your information from somebody who's lying to you because they want you to click on something. I can't help you. I mean, it's not true. Anyway, so monkey shit is trading at 30.22. Maybe we'll see something good happen out of it. However, there is going to be one thing. There it is right there. Divide and conquer. Same old tactics. The left tells you that the right is completely radical. The right tells you that the left is completely radical, and you fall for one or you fall for the other. Or you can sit in the middle like me and know that they're both crazy. They're both stupid, and it's not worth it, which is why I'm voting for Trump despite not liking him. I don't like him personally. Professionally, I don't give a shit about him. I know he's bankrupted a lot of companies. I don't have any respect for somebody who keeps bankrupting all of their companies. Jesus Christ, how bad of a businessman do you have to be to do that? However, that doesn't mean that he's not getting my vote because he's pro crypto. But if you think that I have to vote for him because I love him, because he's awesome, because you think he's awesome, no, I don't. I get to be a free thinker. That's the beauty of America. So, Monkey Shit Inu has one more thing coming up. Who do you think will be doing an X Spaces for us next week? Now, here's it's the question. I haven't voted on this one yet. I'm going to give you my opinion right now. Da Vinci Jeremy, the Moon Carl, Mario Nov, whatever his fucking name is, and then altcoindaily.io. I'm going to go with Da Vinci here. Because Da Vinci is the guy out here shilling projects right now. He was the guy that called Bitcoin, I think, 2013, something like that. So I'm going to say that's probably the guy. So it looks like, matter of fact, that might be the guy. Now, I could be surprised by this one. I could be really surprised by this one. Altcoin Daily. Altcoin Daily could also be one of them that's doing it. I don't think that Mario Nawful is going to do it. The Moon Carl, maybe. But I think Da Vinci, then Altcoin, then the Moon Carl. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Also, as far as the rest of it goes, he did another buyback, but they're doing $30,000 buyback. They're doing a $30,000 buyback. Yeah, but how many of those campaign promises are actually very? Your campaign promises. I think if I were to say that campaign promises were implemented, then Barack Obama and Donald Trump are probably the two most recent. Of course, they're the two most recent presidents other than Joe Biden. And Joe Biden probably implemented some of his stuff too. But what I give you as a campaign promise is what I'm going to work for, what I'm going to try to do in the position. But look, if you have a Democrat in charge and you have a Republican in Congress, you're going to get gridlocked. If you have a Republican and you have a Democrat in Congress, you're going to get gridlocked. There's only so much that you're able to do. At best, what you can, or at worst, actually, when you have a Democratic president and you have Republicans in charge, towards the end of that, they started granting Donald Trump more power so that he was able to do just presidential decisions. He was able to just, push some stuff out and giving people like just extra power, which we should be taking back from the president, not adding to and giving to the president. The problem is we get frustrated because of the lack of action because everybody's more willing to fight one another. J. Manuel Pablo said last night on X Spaces that it's not Da Vinci. Well, that makes it Altcoin Daily. Altcoin Daily just did a show with Rodney a couple days ago talking about meme coins, which means that Altcoin Daily is getting into and is interested in meme coins. And because Rodney is also high on MSI, that would mean to me that most likely it's going to be Altcoin Daily. So I'm going to change my vote to Altcoin Daily, even though you didn't see me do that. My vote's now Altcoin Daily. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. So anyway, you give more power to the president in order to get stuff done. And what you're doing is you're taking away from Congress. It's Congress's job to enforce those actions and to do that. So what we need is here's what we need. We need less social media dividing people, creating different tribes. And we need to remember that there's only one tribe, and that's the American tribe. And we're not always going to agree on everything, but sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up and let your neighbor be an idiot if they're an idiot, because it's their freedom to be an idiot in America, as long as you're not hurting other people. So, that's where it is. And if you're on one side or the other on women's reproductive rights, I understand. My opinion doesn't matter. Yours, you have an opinion, because if somebody's transgender, or you have this wild thing about children, transgender children, shit like that. I understand why you would have concerns. I myself would have concerns, and I would support your side on it, because I don't think that children should be touched or suppressed with puberty blockers. I don't think any of that should be happening. I think they should be fully formed and have a fully formed prefrontal cortex before anybody makes one of those decisions. They have to. So, and I'm all over the place when it comes to some of this shit. I want my taxes low, but I want the homeless to be taken care of. I understand the need for people to receive government assistance because the job market doesn't provide for everybody in the same context in the same way. And what I also need to say is, 1 second here, fuck Green Bay. Green Bay is dog shit. Jordan Love is an overpaid hack. He's going to go down. And by the way, the Bears, I think my prediction for the Bears was they were going to lose 2 games to the Green Bay Packers this year, but that they were going to beat Detroit and Minnesota, and they were going to end up winning the division. And the Green Bay Packers were going to end up losing to Detroit and probably 1 game to Minnesota, and that the Bears would win that division at 13-4. And again, it's just because Jordan Love is a lifeless, lowbrow hack, and not worth that money. You know what I mean? Anyway, fuck your team. I mean, good luck on the season. That's what I mean. Anyway, we're all over the place. All of us are all over the place. There's radicals on both sides. I don't give a shit about either one of those. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens here. The important thing right now is it's not Da Vinci. So I'm going to go altcoin daily. Let me know. Let me know. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Football is the greatest sport. Football was invented by God and gifted to John Elway as he came down from the clouds. So choke on that. Slap nuts. Or whatever. I don't know. Here's the great part. If you haven't watched it, I'm going to encourage you at this point to go watch. There is it's George Washington Saturday Night Live skit where he talks about systems of weight and measures and stuff like that. One of the funniest things ever. And he's going to talk about football, and he's going to explain football. And he's like, football. And they're like, so is it football because you use your feet? And he goes, because you're kicking? He's like, well, no, you use your hands. And then they're like, so is there any kicking? And he's like, yeah, there's a little kicking. And one of the funniest things ever. Oh, God damn it. Absolutely hilarious. It used to be great sport. Now they make 2-bunch sissy roll. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I don't want people dying for my entertainment. That's wild. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, I think it's weird the way the game has evolved, but it's also nice to see that they're taking care of people. I used to love to see Ray Lewis put the slam on somebody. I used to love to see, Chris Conkey, some of the, God damn it, what was this guy? I think it was Chris Conkey. I like to see these guys hit. I like Bill, God damn, what was that guy? The guy from the Broncos, Bill, whatever his name was. I like to see all these guys hit people hard and like break people and stuff like that. Like it looks awesome, but that's dangerous and that hurts people. So I appreciate the fact that they've come up with different ways to keep an incredibly violent sport of athletes who continue to get better. This is the problem. The speed by which we run continues to go up. The size by which we grow to continues to go up. All of these things are creating catastrophic accidents, and I just hope that we don't have to deal with that we don't have to deal with all of this catastrophic damage that these guys are doing to one another. That's not healthy, and that's not good for my entertainment. I would rather see Tom Brady play for 15 years. I would rather see other people. Remember Steve Largent? Remember when I don't remember who it was, but God damn it, he hit him so hard that Steve Largent's helmet like collapsed and broke, and that was the end of Steve Largent. I mean, do you guys remember that? Man, like that destroyed a great receiver's career. Some of these guys get injured, like Joe Theismann way back in the old days. You remember Joe Theismann? They just snapped his leg in half. Like it was the end of his career. You know what I mean? Like we should be doing our best to prevent that kind of stuff. And I do think it makes the league a little bit softer. But here's the thing: you go out there and play for a little while, you're going to find out it's not nearly as soft as you think. These guys are still playing hard. They just have to do better with what they're doing. So anyway, Monkey Shit Inu, make sure that you're checking it out. As far as Saitama goes, it looks like there's a couple of there's some rebranding underway, by the way, because it's the natural evolution of it. And you can see here there's Earlswood and Edward are going to be making some kind of announcement at some point very, very soon. But here is introducing Saitama Girl. Her exciting story will be told soon. So this is Saitama girl. I don't know what the, and then here's the Saitama kid, so they're having some fun with it, and they're doing some evolving the project, if you will, just a little bit along the way. So I would say that, I think that this could be a really good opportunity for not necessarily rebranding, but a continuation of the trend. So we'll see whether or not that manifests into price action. When we look at the price action, it has not as yet. And MSI just lost three. They just lost 503. One Punch Man Saitama went up to about 1800 yesterday, and I said, that's cool. But I think we need to go like 3 cents, otherwise we're going to be cooked. Well, they did. I think the team, they did like a concerted like buyback contest or something like that. Got up to 1800, and now it's dumped back down, almost back to the bottom of where it was before. Now, whether or not that sticks remains to be seen. If you look at it on the 1 hour here, you can see that since that top over here, all it's been is just constant and consistent sell off and sell down. And it continues to happen over here because you have these big people coming in, stepping in, and selling out on the chart. And then, they get tired, and by the way, a lot of these guys selling at a loss. Ridiculous when you look at it sometimes. You know what I mean? All those cities are Democrat. Okay. I mean, cool. Cool, bro. Cool story. Anyway, so I don't see, I would like to see some life in Saitama, but I don't see it right now. I'm not seeing the life in it that I would like to see. I'm not seeing that spark, that enthusiasm. Some of it could be because the market's a little bit cooked, but generally speaking, there should be more. We should be seeing a little bit more push coming out of it than what we're seeing right now. And it could be just a byproduct of being a CTC community takeover, or CTO, a community takeover. And, maybe this, maybe it's done. I don't think that it is, but, I mean, 20 cents or whatever it was, that's not a bad run. I mean, it's up that's 10x from where it is right now. I mean, I would take a nice 10x out of it, at this point. I think actually on the the hourly, it was up at 22 cents, I want to say. Yeah, 22 cents. So, it had a moment where it spiked up to 22 cents. Now it's just looking like all these other ones. Now, the other part to that is I want to point out, when you see this right here and you see this decline, I'm going to point this out, and I'm not comparing the two, but if you go look at the original Pepe chart, you'll see the same thing. It comes down off of that big pump. It's all the same. These cryptos are all the same. Comes down from this massive pump, then it corrects into this previous pocket range, and we'll see what happens over here. Now, the one thing is, remember, they did a big misstep. One of those big missteps was they gave tokens to that Prince guy in order to get listed on Gate.io and all that kind of shit. And he was just a scammer. He was just a scamming little dirtbag. So they have some unforced errors, if you will. The good thing that you can say here is that the RSI is weak right now, and we're in a market that should be pumping. So we'll probably see some positive price action going back to the upside, but we just haven't seen it yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see some good news out of Saitama coming up very, very soon. And as far as DevvE goes, let me close that out. Today is the meeting day for the AMA for Tauntcoin and NFIP Holdings. Those are the Bored Ape people. If you're interested in the conversation about their latest partnership, the group of Bored Ape owners will tell more about their licensed IP and how this will bring their apes to life. So what you're going to see is, remember, you own the Bored Apes. That's the cool part. So what these guys did is they got together, they incorporated this process, and now their apes are going to be in the Taunt fighting game, along with some familiar faces that you may not have seen yet. I can't get into that until I have some clarity on exactly which ones they're going to be, but there is some continued building throughout this ecosystem. And again, they're just kind of waiting out some people who have been dumping stuff like that. Now, while we're on that, let me move over here and close this out because I don't have it prepped up here. As far as Luna Classic goes, don't really have a whole lot for that today. If you want to, I got a Luna Classic video coming out a little bit later where I talk about a lot of stuff, but I can't get into it right now because we got to close this out. What I wanted to do is make sure that you guys knew about 5IRE. Now, I've been bullish on 5IRE for a while now, and I am aware that during the time that it's been happening, price has been going down. I've always considered, hey, you know what? This is a launch here. This is back December of 2023. Price has been dunked on. You know what I mean? And when you look at it right here, that's not great. That's not the price. That's not what you're looking for, right? It's not what you're looking for. However, the same thing happened to DevvE. There's a lot of different tokens that have pre-sales where stuff like this happens. Arbitrum didn't experience it nearly as bad, but it also experienced it as well. If you take Arbitrum and you go back to the original, yeah, so you can see that it happened over here. And how many days did it take before it reversed? When you look at that, it took 213 bars. So it took 213 days for Arbitrum to reverse and come back up, right? So just keep that in mind. And now here we are on this one, and it continues to dump, by the way. It's continuing its downward momentum. This is at 230 bars. So it's around the same period of time they had a reversal on Arbitrum and then found a new high. It is possible that 5-hour does the same thing. Now, here's the problem. So this came out 3 years ago. Two friends scribbled down an ambitious plan. This was the 5-hour people. They announced $220 million worth of funding. One of them was a $100 million fund. Another was a $100 million fund. Another was a $10 million fund. And they turned down these people each and every time, according to what they say. Now, these are the three guys that co-founded. And when I say guy, one of them is not a guy. I get that, but let's just go with it. They were Vilma Mattia, the Matilla. I don't know. It's Norwegian, something like that. Pratik Gowri, Pratik DevvE. These are the people that found it. Now, they always had a big game, keep talking, keep blah, 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 blah. So here's what happened. Crypto companies tend to raise early money from pre-sales of their tokens instead of giving early investor shares. They give them the right to buy tokens at a lower cost than what they eventually launch on a crypto exchange. November 2021, 5-hour announced it had raised $21 million via a token pre-sale. Investors included VC companies Alphabet, Marshland, Launchpool, and Moonrock. Then in February of 2022, it announced it had secured a $100 million capital commitment from GEM, Global Emerging Market. It described itself as a $3.4 billion alternative investment group. Now, a couple months later, they stopped talking about this $100 million capital commitment. And then they said they chose not to move forward with the deal because it made the strategic decision not to pursue an IPO. Now, that means they don't have that $100 million. That $100 million was why the chart was going to, quote unquote, pump. However, that didn't happen. So 5-hour told Siftrade, Schmam, and Ram had undergone an independent analysis, and they were going to give $100 million. And that never materialized either. And a person who worked with senior capacity within 5-hour said they never personally saw evidence of the $100 million from SRAM and RAM. The 5-hour couldn't give us any evidence of the valuation or the investment. And then they said that they never did that. They never, they decided not to agree. We came to know that the charges of after the deal was concluded, so they did not do it. They decided not to. So then the board, the entire board, there were 6 people on the board, something like that. In summer 2022, the company's entire advisory board quit. Now, one of them was one of the original founders. That was this Matilda woman right here. Also quit. Had no comment. None of them had any comment. However, here's what they said. They were skeptical. And then they said they do not want to be associated with them by any means. We provide regular updates to our community of advisors, they told, and the advisors we wanted are still with us. Those who weren't able to add strategic value are no longer with us. Now, that doesn't sound good no matter what, right? And then they ended up giving some people their money back. So now they're launched on testnet right now, and it was a closed beta, but now it's an open beta as of yesterday. They've gone to an open beta on the 5-hour platform. It will launch on August 15 of 2024. So there could be a potential for a nice pump here. However, this is now we've got the closing part where they remain bullish, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, what this did do is it made me take half of my 5-hour out and put it into API 3. So just to give you guys clarity on why I'm bringing this up, I still think that this has got a nice little rip to it, a nice little run to it, but I would rather be in DevvE. I like the DevvE ecosystem. I like the people there a whole lot better. They haven't pulled anything here that would cause some of this wild stuff to happen. at any point. And by the way, I don't know. I mean, these guys are Indian, I want to say. So I don't know. And by the way, Vilma Matilla, she left because of a difference in vision, is what they said. Now, and I don't know. It's still 28 people on the team, so still a pretty big team. So I mean, I get the sense, I get the feeling that um, it might be a FUD campaign. I want to cross my fingers for that, but I would encourage you to do your own research if you are talking or looking at 5 hour. I'm not partnered with them, by the way. This was just a personal opinion about it, and it was based on some research that I did early on, and a couple of other people who do crypto analysis were also saying the same thing. They really liked what they saw in the project, despite what was going on. But this article really kind of summarized a lot of the stuff here. Even if most of it's not real, something in here might be a catalyst for downward momentum or a lack of upward momentum when the time comes. So we shall see whether or not they overcome any of these things right here. I do remain. A lot of this stuff happens because it's in a bear market and we haven't seen a pump yet. So, DevvE, love this team, haven't seen a pump yet. But I get the sense here and the feeling and the real feeling that there's going to be a massive reversal coming. Same thing. I mean, if you go around the horn, you can see that with a lot of different projects. You can even see that Ethereum fell, off a cliff at one point. You know what I mean? So there is certainly, this kind of downward momentum here that lasted all this period of time with Aave, and it was the bear market, right? But we're still in a bear market for all these coins and tokens and stuff like that. So with a high of 47 cents and a low of a penny, knowing that a reversal is probably imminent, it's good to have some of it. But remember, I got in at like 3 cents. So I think API 3 has the bigger upside anyway. So I just moved over to API 3 a little bit more. Now, to close this out, Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin probably gets on a nice little run, continues on. I think we're going to be looking at an all-time high coming pretty soon. Ethereum, I think Ethereum is going to reverse again. It's having a little dip on the day, but I think we got a big reversal getting ready to come in. We're down $47 billion on the day. And really, you ask yourself, is this because we're cooked, or is this, what is this? What the fuck is that? Oh, that is, oh, Jesus Christ. I hate. All right. Sorry. So here's the big move that happened on Ethereum. So are we, what are we doing? We just crossed the 200 MA on the 1 hour, and now we're back to, potentially bullish again. We've successfully bounced off of it and pumped back up a little bit off of these retests. So this is total market cap. I'm sorry. But we've successfully bounced off of it and seem to be retesting. So that's a bullish sign. I think after today, I'll probably start heading back up. We're starting to see the curvature on the 200. It's going back upwards. So I think we're on the cusp of a breakout and a continuation of some bullish momentum across the board. Now, on the daily, we lost the 200 MA. Going to have to test that. That's at 3,200 on Ethereum. So I think Ethereum is headed back to 3,000 post haste. We are testing the 200 on Bitcoin right now. So Solana 153, same thing, but it's a bullish and it's above the 200 MA at this point. So of the big three, this one's the most bullish right now, Solana. But Ethereum, but again, Bitcoin is right there testing it, seeing if we can break out above. And if we can do that, then we're good to go. RSIs, everything's in place for a rip back to the upside. But again, momentum will end or momentum will slow down in a few thousand more dollars. So that's it, guys. All right. So on the weekend, I'm going to do a bunch of content this weekend. And I hope that you guys are going to like it. It's going to be released over the course of maybe the next week or two. But I'm going to do a lot of educational content, a lot of trading content, because I need more people signing up for KCEX. They're actually producing. It's actually been good for me financially to be partnered with KCEX. And I'm going to bring on another crypto exchange, I think, as a secondary option for you. will not be available in the United States. KCEX, that's for US holders right there. Now, bad part about KCEX is it doesn't have an off-ramp. So you go there, you trade on their basically decentralized, centralized platform, non-KYC, if you will. You go trade over there, and then you move money from that wallet to your centralized exchange wallet, and that's how you cash out. So, but they have great liquidity, better than some of these exchanges that we have used, like LBank and shit like that. They have better liquidity. So I would certainly be checking them out if you haven't already, and it helps me out tremendously. And also sign up, become a member of the channel. That helps me out tremendously as well. But that's it. Thank you so much. Time to pay some bills, and we'll see you guys again on Monday. I got some videos coming out this weekend as well, but we'll talk about that soon. Cryptonomy.finance is giving away $100,000 in Ethereum and $100,000 in Solana. Go to this X post and engage with it in order to get registered. You have to follow their Telegram, follow Cryptonomy on X, make a fixed staking deposit of at least 6 months. There's no amount given, but the winners could range from $100 to $10,000. So check it out today. Also, we now have a dark mode on Cryptonomy. So if you haven't, make sure you go check that out. Now, I told you guys before, I'm a big time fan of API 3. I think it's going to be one of the bangers. We're going to do this one for 6 months. And we're also going to make a deposit on Ondo. And again, we're going to do it for 6 months. That's a 32.46% yield. And now we're staked with more API, more Ondo. Guys, I can't stress enough, the market, get ready because there's something big getting ready to happen.